Did you find anything when you were looking into positive psychology or in general that has really helped you to kind of adapt your own working style and maybe how you work with clients now, having that knowledge?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. So the thing that I identified really fast was that most of my struggles, or all of my struggles with everything, were mindset based, and they were based around cognitive distortions, around things that I tell myself that just aren't true, that have no necessary logic. So that was the first thing. I also did so sometimes I do with my clients a values assessment. So what are your values? And I found that I was beating myself up for having 3 degrees. I love learning. And my top value came out as love of learning. Right. And I was like, oh, okay, so I can give myself permission to learn and love it and to teach others. And actually, I love what I do because that's my top value. And then my next value was like integrity, and like all of these things came up. And I realized that through living through my values, it was really going to help me to feel more aligned, feel more peaceful, and make good decisions. But then I also did a strengths test. So we do that in positive psychology because what we know is when you use your strengths and when you develop your strengths, you become way better at what you do. Whereas when we try and develop our weaknesses, it's actually just an uphill struggle. There's a lot of friction. So we're better off actually finding out what our strengths are, what our values are, and leaning into them to curate our life and our business.
Could you highlight a little bit of the opportunities that have opened up since you started posting and that kind of came through that LinkedIn personal
Oh,
brand?
goodness. Yeah. It's so hard to grow on social media right now, and it's so easy as well. There's a strategy for each of the platforms, and you have to know that strategy deeply and apply it consistently, which is for most business owners who are neurodivergent, it's really difficult. But even when you're a business owner and you're overwhelmed and you have to be self-disciplined, it's actually really difficult to implement any consistent strategy because we've got no boss telling us what to do. When I took to LinkedIn, I could write down my thoughts very quickly, post them with a single picture, a selfie, anything, really didn't matter. I didn't have to do carousels, videos, nothing. And I was still growing. The growth happened so quickly. And what you get is when you get a result through any business strategy and you see it working, you want to do it more. So I was posting, I don't know, a year ago, probably 2 or 3 times a week, and hadn't committed daily. I wasn't doing any outbound engagement, which is a huge sin that social media managers are like, you must do the outbound engagement. I didn't do that till the end of last year. And I grew to about 5,000 followers. So I managed to do that in 6 months with very little effort, just through kind of finding my way on the platform. And most of us would love to have 5,000 followers. Like that's a really good goal. I think it's 99% of people, or some ridiculous statistic, never get over 1,000. So that's a really good achievement, and I was pleased with that. But what I found was that people have budget more so on LinkedIn because they're in work mode. So when they're scrolling, they're actually in work mode. They're waiting for an answer to the solution. When you're on Instagram, you're like, oh, okay, that's funny. Okay, there's some makeup. Okay, there's some cats. Okay, there's something interesting about sustainability. There's something about ADHD, and your brain is like all over the place. But when you're on LinkedIn, it's pretty much curated in work, work, work. Like everything is just very focused on your brain saying, I'm working right now. And I found people have budget. I found people turn up to calls. You can grow really easily. People who run events can find you to ask you to speak at events. You can connect with just people like you. I've made some of like really, really good friends through LinkedIn, just through LinkedIn conversations, and you feel very connected. And I think as a platform, it's so good right now in ways that the other platforms are not. And you've got robots, etc. And yes, LinkedIn has its flaws for sure, but it's just so focused on work that as a business owner, it is an absolute no-brainer for me.
Where do we start? Do we start with a profile? Do we start with just putting our thoughts out there? Like, where do we go?
Start with the one big problem that you solve and who you solve it for. Because a lot of people take to the platform and they'll start posting, and then there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. Getting comfortable on a platform is a strategy, and a lot of us need to do that, especially if we lack confidence. But what they miss is they post their thoughts or they post content that they think is going to be interesting without focusing on the problem that they solve. And if you scroll through my profile, you'll see it's like how to make money, how to do this, ways I do this. I've been for a coffee. What does that have in common with you as a business owner? All of my content is very curated to the person looking to make more money, to get leads, to market themselves, to market their business, and to grow and scale to multiple six figures and beyond. That's what I talk about, the problems of scaling, of growing, of lead generation, of all this stuff that we need to overcome, even when I'm talking about my own personal journey. So even when I dip out of that, I'm doing something relatable to my ideal customer. So when you're starting on LinkedIn, it really doesn't matter what buttons you press when you're getting comfortable. as long as you remember every time you write something, every time you record something, every time you put a newsletter out or make a connection request, it's always like, is this in line with the business goal? Is this in line with the problem that I'm solving and the solution that I want to provide? Are these my ideal customers that I'm connecting with? You've got to tell platforms what you want.
How can we make these kind of have a better life, have more energy, stress less?
Okay.
How can we make that into one problem that we want to solve?
Are you up for some live like mentorship?
100% always.
Okay. So you said that how do you like make something tangible? But what you do is very tangible. And the issue that business owners have is that they don't bring the tangibility to life. As a coach, what problem do you solve?
If you have a stressful life and that is eating away at your peace of mind, that is eating away at your physical health, I can help you to find strategies to de-stress and kind of solve these other issues.
So on its own, that is a very tangible result. We can feel it. The magic happens when you say, I'm going to help you reduce stress so you can
grow your business. Yeah.
So you can grow your business. I'm going to help you reduce stress so you can hit 10K a month. I'm going to help you reduce stress so that you can actively show up on social media. And your messaging is a lot around so that you can, but people say, I'm a mindset coach, and so I'm going to help you change your mindset. What does that mean? That's not tangible. No one can feel it. No one can touch it. And no one can put themselves into that scenario. When you are, selling anything in your business, just challenge yourself to say, so that you can what? Like, what is this? Like, what does this mean? And when we pair the so that you can statement with the thing that the people want most, is when it comes to reducing stress. If I think about when I'm stressed, what I want is to not want to lay in bed. I want to actually work. I want to stay productive. I want to keep the business going. I don't want to let the team down. I don't want to let clients down. It's very easy to say, look, if you stay in a stressful state, you're leaving money on the table because you're not selling. You're not serving your clients. I say this all the time, that you have all the knowledge that you need and you just can't apply it because you're stressed. So the messaging is the magic. Let me just give you like a quick tip. So when you post on LinkedIn, when you show up in the feed, the first thing that people see is like that I help high achieving female. That's the intriguing bit. So you've got this very short, like mini sentence that you have to play with. So when you craft that headline, the best part of that sentence needs to go first. So if it says reclaim your energy, someone that's really struggling with energy is going to see that and connect with you. And all you've got is your profile picture and those first few words to play with. I love I help statements, and sometimes I get people to create them, right? Because they really do help you to understand what you do for people, but then I get them to remove the I help to add personality. So it might be like, reclaim your energy and drive your business to something. So the other thing is people say to the next level, to new heights. But again, we can't connect with that. So what does new heights mean? It means something different for everybody. If you were talking to me, I'm low energy right now, busy week, I'm looking forward to the weekend, it would be like, reclaim your energy so that you can create the 7-figure business. It's literally that clear. We're often really worried about putting a specific result in. But what I would really challenge you to do is get clear on who that person is and what is the goal.
What do I do next after I have nailed kind of the headline?
Okay, so with your profile, you want to view it as your customer would see it. So the banner and the profile picture and the headline is always going to be the most important thing. The featured section is the next important thing. So we have a tendency to pin our top performing post there, which is great if you have nothing else. But what I find is that a really simple lead magnet works well. So you can just have one link. You see the top influencers, the top coaches, the top creators, they will have one link. It'll be to their email list. It'll be to their free training. It'll be to their download. So have one goal in mind in terms of what you want people to do. So for example, I'm running the LinkedIn masterclass that happens in a couple of weeks, selling a mini course to get people on LinkedIn. One thing that I could do is my featured section, just put one post, one banner that says, join the live challenge and increase your leads and growth on LinkedIn. And that's it. So when they get to my profile and scroll, it's the first thing they see. You've got to think like a customer acts. So they see your profile, okay, grow your service business. They scroll down and they say, get leads, which is the core problem. It's very quick. They're likely to click. And sometimes what we do is we overwhelm our audience with too much information. So we have these long about sections that I don't know that people always read. I think they do sometimes, but that's the most boring bit of the profile. So your about section, your first line has to be a hook that makes people want to read it if you want people to go there. So if you have a free call, then I would use a call to benefit, which is like a call to action that has a benefit for them. So you might want to put in the featured section, book a call with me to learn how to grow your LinkedIn in 30 minutes. It's free. Because you're saying book a call with me, but then you're saying what's in it for them. It might be join a newsletter. So I have, my newsletter is Brutally Honest Business, and it might be join Brutally Honest Business to get a behind the scenes look at a six-figure business, and so that I can help you grow with a 2-minute video tip every single week. And when we give them that benefit, it means that they really just see what's in it for them, because we're all really selfish. Like, we're so selfish. We want to know what's in it for us.
When you do send that first, or they send you a request for connection and then you start DMing them, what's kind of the secret to land somewhere between, like, I'm going to be your new best friend and I'm the salesiest person you have ever met? Like, we kind of want to find a middle ground, right?
Yeah, and it comes down to your personality, you know? So what's the secret? I can't tell you my secret. Or maybe I can. So I'm giving away my DM script in the training that I'm doing in a couple of weeks. And through my mini course, I'm giving away my script. What I have found is that gentle, personality-based questioning is the best way. That is very clearly not driven towards a sale. So I will often speak to people about their goals and what they're struggling with. But what I'm not going to do is send this formal message that says, what do you want to achieve by the end of the year? And what's stopping you from getting there? Because, like, one, I sound like AI has stepped in on my behalf. And two, it's a signal that I'm only in it for one thing. And I think people are really getting sick of people being in it for one thing. And yes, you can do cold outreach. You can do that. If you hit high enough numbers, it will work. You will find your people, and there's nothing wrong with that. I do teach that strategy if you're resilient enough for it. But my business is built on generosity marketing, and it's built on connection. I want this kind of long-term sustainable business model. And I also want a personal brand that in 5 years, if I have a huge following, I want them to remember who I was now and that I did genuinely try to connect, which is why my sales calls are very, honestly, I get so much, like, from other coaches. They're like, you're too relaxed, you need to sell harder. And it really falls outside of my values. So again, your values come in. I sell to a degree. I tell people I can help them, but I'm playing this long game in terms of my personal brand in really caring for people. So my secret when I'm DMing is I give a lot of value. If you DM me, I'm going to give you some advice. If you want it, I'll offer you advice and you can say no. And I give you the opportunity to say no. But I have people who are not my clients messaging me and they'll say, I've put a post out on LinkedIn, can you review it? And I'm like, yeah, go on then. Because I'm building up this, like, emotional bank account with people, because they will either work with me, they will either refer me, or they will engage with my content. And so building your personal brand through the DMs is the secret. Like, how do you want people to perceive you?
Can you also tell people a little bit more how they can work with you? You do so much more than just LinkedIn. There's a lot of strategy. There's so much business. Just like a very quick overview of, like, what can people expect when they start DMing you, when they start working with you?
I've got the low ticket product now, I'll teach you LinkedIn. I also have a group called Sell in 6, which is where I teach you how to sell a service in 6 steps, because you actually need 6 things, which is offer, reliability, credibility, visibility, sociability, and the psychology, the positive psychology of keeping going. When I have a 6-month program, you can join for 12 months, and I speak to my clients every single week. So I wanted to bring kind of like the one-to-one vibe to group coaching, where you actually get to speak to the mentor, because they grow so big now that you don't usually get to. We meet, we have accountability calls, we have like Kajabi resources, I'm bringing in guest experts, and you actually get to chat to me as well. So that's the first group. And then for people who are about the kind of like 7K a month mark, they're trying to get to multiple 6 figures, I have another group, which is a small scale mastermind, where every week I teach you to build out your funnel, to get more sales, to like take permission, to keep going, to work on your mindset, to do your email marketing. I teach the whole piece and coach you through that process of scaling your business. They're the main ways that I work with people. I do work one-to-one in the background as like fractional marketers, or if you're a bigger CEO that needs kind of like the marketing and funnel stuff, but you also want maybe the personal brand stuff and you're also struggling with overwhelm. So I'd say like the main thing about working with me is if you're struggling with overwhelm, if you're struggling to get leads or sales, or you're struggling to build a personal brand, get on social media, or you don't know what you're struggling with at all, but you want to add revenue and you want to grow and you are ambitious, there's definitely a way that you can work with me that would suit you.